Hello, my name is Maurice Washington. I want to welcome everybody to another live episode of Executive Talk. Those who are watching live and those who are listening later on our podcast, thank you so much for joining us. Today's topic is: do you crash with the marketplace or do you crash with the market? As you know, there's a lot of changes, and these changes this year in particular have been very aggressive. We've never seen anything like this before, but we've also seen a response like we've never seen before either. So with me today is we have Kerri Farren with Summit Global Private Wealth to actually talk to us about, do you crash with the market? How your response to the market is, and what you can do to change that outlook. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring Kerri to the stage. How you doing today, Kerri?
I'm doing pretty good today. It's still a little chilly outside, but I'm ready for summer. So I'm doing
I
really
know,
well
I know.
today. How about
That's
yourself?
good. I'm doing good. And one thing that we know as business owners is regardless of how cold it is or hot it is, there's still stuff going on around this world, right?
Exactly.
That's fair. That's fair. So, do you crash with the market? How? Why is this? Because again, as I mentioned in the very beginning of the show, we've seen changes that we've probably never seen at all. This is a very abnormal. What have you seen in totality with your clients and people in this time frame?
Yeah, so it's a really good question and a really good thing to think about for everything. But this market has been crazy, or not the market, but the whole government stuff, what's been going on to be able to change the market. It's been very different than ever before. I mean, all these things are coming through with things that, not getting into politics or anything, but things that Trump want, they make a big change and then all of a sudden they don't, and it pulls to a different stage. So people are seeing this fluctuation in all this stuff and not knowing what to do. So a lot of people get scared. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't know, and they just kind of go with the market and be really stressed out, go with the news, be really stressed out. But then
Yeah,
there are other people that really are taking this, being very optimistic about it and
true.
going with it. So it's something I think it's really hard for people to understand. And when the market crashes, some people crash. When the market crashes, some people go up. So it's
Yeah,
it's totally different, and it's just been crazy this year.
that's very true. And that leads me to this next, and just really the point of this whole thing is confidence. Consumer confidence is huge. And one thing that's under attack when people see this much volatility at once, your confidence level goes down because ultimately we're saying that you should have confidence in the market. That's why you're suggesting, hey, let's put your money in the marketplace. And ultimately you're trying to increase your revenue on top of what you're currently doing in your day-to-day as part of your plan, economic plan, right? So talk to us about what those known aspects are and kind of the economic outlook and personal finances and how all that mixes in.
Yeah, so from people I've spoken to personally, plus other um, friends that I work with that have worked with these people personally, you hear different stories about how people are defining, excuse me, how people are defining this consumer confidence. They're looking at more about the economic updates, their personal finances, and kind of what that shows is what things are going on now. The news about, they're talking to people, they're talking about the cost of goods, they're talking about all the tariffs, all this stuff that's going on now is out on the news, and people are knowledgeable of that. They understand those things, but they're kind of thinking that those are the things that are going to run your decisions and your confidence in your money, things like that. Those are the things people look at. And if they understand that, that's great. But there are more things that kind of cover this confidence than just understanding their personal finances, the economic outlook, things like that. So you want to get a little bit deeper to see if really everybody really does have the consumer confidence that they think they do.
That's exactly right. Would you say that stability is important for confidence to be at its all-time high? Do people want to see a constant level of stability in the market in order to stay confident?
Yeah, and they really do. People would love to see that stability in there and be confident. But the situation with that is there is no stability. So people's confidence has to have their own definition of stability. kind of in a way,
That's right.
and how they're going to run with it and how they're going to handle it. So it's different for everyone. And again, there is no stability. So with the confidence that they have, they also have to be looking at those different strategies and those different thoughts on what else is going on that can or cannot affect.
That's right. I love what you said because it leans right into that outlook for you. You have to have a specific outlook at the marketplace to really understand how to attack it. Because, and we'll see it later on here, but there is no, it's not offering the stability that gives you that confidence to keep going with it. As soon as you see dips like this in particular, it makes you want to jump ship, right? And bring your money right back home where it's safe in your eyes versus out there in the marketplace.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Let me ask you this. This is a interesting, I guess, for lack of better terms, photographs here is the unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, and conscious competence, and unconscious competence. What does that mean? Because right now I just got confused because maybe I don't have the competence, but whatever.
Yeah, well, it is. And this is something I will tell you right away. I've had a mentor for 20 years in my business, and these are things that I've learned from him. So I'm really giving him the credit for understanding things that he's talked about and how I'm seeing it now in the finance. So I'll never be able, I shouldn't say never. I'm not quite at the part where I can explain it and be as perfect as he is with it, but I want to express what I've learned from it
Okay.
and really show how this really affects people with their confidence because of things they don't know that they don't know.
That's fair.
So I'm going to start, I'll just go through them, kind of explain each of them. So the unconscious and incompetence means that you really don't know what you don't know, so you don't do anything about it. And that's something that people don't know. And what that means is a lot of people are out there, they have a job, they're making money, but it's kind of tight, they're not really producing what they need to produce, and then they get scared because of what's going on in the market or what the news says or something like that. So what they're hearing and what they're doing with their work is not changing at all because they don't have really the thoughts or knowledge of what you're unconscious about to begin with, and then you don't know how to fix it. So that's kind of the place where a lot of people are, I think, is because they really don't know what's going on in the market. They don't know this. They listen to everybody's news, and then they're just going to turn around and say, okay, well, that's the way it is, so this is what I'm going to do because I didn't know.
I see.
So it
Yeah.
gets kind of confusing in that way, but that's where a lot of people start. But when we want to continue with growth and start learning more about ourselves along with how we work with our goals and our feelings about the market, just things like this to grow. So the next one comes up that is the conscience incompetence. Now this is the next level, which is really good. What that means is that the people are recognizing the problems.
Okay.
So they're recognizing that we have problems out there. The market's crazy. The news is crazy. Things are going around that just like, okay, there's something out there that's going on. However, I don't know how to fix that. It's in a way that they can't sit down and just look over everything, all of their costs, their income, what's going on, to what they can change, even though they know the problem. But at least that's the next step up because they're seeing the problem. They just don't know how to work with it and fit more into that strategy. The next one is that conscience competence. And that one is, again, now they know the skills to fix the problem.
Okay.
But they're not really focused on doing it correctly. For instance, they're seeing the problem of not having enough money or not having a lot of money. So they're going to sit down and look it over their monthly costs, their mortgage, their gas pay, their water pay, all that stuff. They can look down and think, okay, how can we slim this down? So they're understanding they need to have less costs. However, they'll do that, but then they'll go out for a nice big meal and a nice family event or a trip that they just do. So it doesn't really come down to solving the problem with the little fixed money going out. So again, they know the skills to avoid the problem, but don't know how to execute them. And then
Okay.
finally, the last one, the unconscious competence. This one is the one that is, I'm not going to say very hard to get to, because I don't want to say that, because people have gotten there. But what it is to really know what their ultimate goal is. The most successful at this consumer confidence that we're talking about, and they've reached their goals by breaking through their habits.
Mm.
So what that is they make the right decisions intuitively. Is that the word? Intuitively.
Yeah.
And there are things that they can really define the consumer confidence. And an example in that, to me, is they really have their plan together, knowing it, understanding it, and they have the ability to fluctuate with the changes. They
Okay.
understand that's going to be coming, but the decisions that they have made before, by understanding it, will get them to the next level without any stress or worry or understanding what's going on. And they're optimistic and they know how to work with it.
Right.
So it goes from, it's just a learning level that everybody's going through in time. But to get to that unconscious competence, that is something that I really think people would enjoy being in. And they would be, I think, when it looks more as your confidence
Okay.
will go back up. And that's how it all kind of runs together. That's how I see it. And that's what I've learned. And I think it's a great example to really show how people are looking at the money, how they're spending it, and how they're reaching their goals.
Gotcha. And so this is good because this is the direct relationship to when the market is volatile, their response to the market, right? You're going to fall in one of these four categories. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah. Like, for
Okay.
instance, a lot of people are seeing, oh crap, the market's going down. I see that's going down, but what can I do to help me through this?
Got it.
It's
Okay.
like on that side. And then the other side is seeing, well, I know what I can be doing when I see this, but I really don't know how to do it. So it's either seeing the problem and doing something about it, or seeing the problem and not knowing what to do about it. So,
There it is. Okay.
and they just sit there, and that's where the stress comes in. I really believe that's where the stress comes in. It's like, okay, I see this problem, but what am I going to do about it? Or
Yeah.
am I doing what's going to solve this problem?
Yes.
It's just, you're on both sides of that.
I like it. I like it. All right. Well, then let me ask you this question here, because you gave us also another tidbit here to think about. Is real confidence present? Is this a litmus test for everybody to actually look at themselves and see if there's truly real confidence present within themselves as they're in the marketplace, or present with the plan that they have? What are you getting at with this?
So that's one question that we kind of looked at the other. So is real confidence present? Now,
Mm-hmm.
we really don't know, because then again, this is where the question comes in. It's interesting to know what people would have answered this question before what I just talked about, and then ask this question again about what I just talked about. Even though it was very small amount, just information, they're thinking, wow, was my real confidence there? Am I being able to get to where I want to be with the knowledge that I have now?
Yeah.
So I don't know if a lot of people have the real confidence with them, or if they find out later they don't. So it's just what I think it is. It's a big question on what people think confidence is, and then what they're seeing, what's happening from their decisions that they're making.
That's
And
it.
things change.
That's it. One thing that's behind the scenes, but also in front of the scenes on the same breath, is the fact of Kerri is talking about your plan that you have executed on. And it's your day-to-day plan, and what it looks like as far as what you see fit is what the direction that you're going to go. Because
Mm-hmm.
everybody has had a vision in your 20s. All right. We're all watching. If you're 20, you're starting a vision, right? If you're in the middle of that, you're in the middle of your vision. And the confidence is coming in. And it seems like Kerri's talking about a lot about is confronting your plan, right? Because the market is crashing, does your plan crash with it? Because it seems like you still have a goal that you need to achieve. Am I on the right track with what you're saying here?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, everybody's on that goal. They want to achieve it. But like you're saying, it's things change. When you're at 20, your goal is totally different than you were at 40 or 50.
Yeah,
And when you look back at these changes that you could have made that you didn't, or the good changes that you did, you'll reflect in the back going, okay, was my confidence really good when I started this plan? Is it
that's right.
still
Okay,
good now where I am now? And it's like,
that's right.
we got to double think on that.
And that's huge, folks, because those that are watching, you want to make sure you understand we are really, again, we're talking about your plan because you still have something that you need to execute on. You still said that you had a goal of 65, 67, or whatever the age may be to retire, if that was your goal. So if the market crashes, are you going to crash with it? Is your confidence going to crash as well? And ultimately, it seems like it can't. You have to have a stable confidence as well, even going through some of these storms that are happening in real time. Um, this is another good point, and I want you to really take this away because obviously this one gets me going. You got me fired up now. So, rising confidence and also sabotaging success. What have you seen during this time frame?
So I like this example because it really shows different people, their actions and their thoughts on everything. But this really gets fluctuating during this last, what is it already? June. So we're going on
Yeah,
our
sorry, June.
6th month.
Yeah.
And I've seen this go up and down, up and down. But what I learned from this also is a lot of people are right in the middle of this, which is more of a comfort zone. They want to be warm. They want to have the comfort of where they are with their money, along with any other things that are going on in their life. But sometimes then they're going to see, okay, the market's doing great. I'm going to be putting all this money in. I'm going to be doing all these things because I'm going to have all this money. So they just continue to go up and up and up, and it gets really hot. When they get to that level, it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to calm down now. I got to put the air conditioner back on to cool down. So then it goes down and they get back into down on the bottom in the green where they're starting to sabotage the success that they just made because they want to relax and go down and be comfortable. But then once they're down there, they're seeing, oh my gosh, I'm too low now. Now I'm stressed out again. So let's start rising again. So in many situations, whether it's good or bad, people like to stay comfortable. And that can really affect people's decisions on what they make for not only the investments that we're talking about and their confidence, but I know we spoke earlier about an example that can make people think different about this is, for instance, myself, I run marathons. If I have one coming up and I want to race really hard, I have the best run and everything, then I'm going to go way up here into this red. And I'm just going to work my butt off to be able to get to where I want. Yeah, I'm going to be out there every day doing this. And then all of a sudden I'll come to this time like, okay, I'm doing good. I feel good. I'm going to start relaxing. And then all of a sudden it starts going down. I'm in my comfort zone still doing okay, but I continue to go. And now I'm down here sabotaging my success because I had all of that going on for me up on the top, that now it's like I have to work really hard to get just back to comfort. And I think that when you look at it that way, I think it helps people understand more on where they're going with their money. If the market's doing really well, people are making a lot of money, they're going to be way up there. But then all of a sudden something happens, you fall down, and you've got to get back in that comfort zone. And that's I think, is changing it. It changes a lot of people's thoughts and beliefs and everything change during this. And it's always going to get hot and cold, but everybody seems to just want to be right in the middle.
Yeah, that is so true. And she's talking a lot about people's habits. This is the human nature habit that she's talking about. And to find yourself in the middle is a lot of where we try to stabilize. It's interesting. When we're younger, everything is hot. Everything is, we want to rise to the top. All your whole vision is rising to the top, getting married, rising to the top, having kids, having rising to the top. Having an XYZ amount of job, the house is all about rising to the top. But as you notice, the older you get and the more life hits you, you try to find that middle ground, right? The dangerous part about the middle ground, folks, is that the middle ground is closer to the bottom ground. And the older you get, the less energy and that you have to keep on trying to hit the top. You're just trying to stabilize because now you realize all your vision is getting hit by this currency called life. And so there's a sabotaging of success. And it's, and speaking to Kerri, one thing that this remind me of is kind of like working out. You can hit that middle part and say, you know what, I'm going to get better. And this is almost the same example as to I'm going to meet with a financial advisor. And then they bring you to the top. Same with working out. You get to the top. You get that ideal weight that you're looking to get to. As soon as you get there, it's not getting to the top that's hard. It's actually maintaining and keeping yourself red at all times. That's where the real success lies. There's actually that energy of life where you have to maintain staying up top because the gravitational pull on life is you're a situation away from going right to the middle and going right back to the bottom. Mm-hmm. And I think the habit is that we think we can maintain this. And it's almost like we think our plan is set because it's been working for a few years. That's when Kerri was talking about, it seems like we start to take extra trips. We're spending extra, and you lose sight of your plan. Well, then as soon as something happens, we have this volatility like we have recently. Well, then now we see yourself, that whole plan that you had and that whole comfort went straight to the bottom. And so there is a tension that we have to pay attention to. It almost goes back to that statement Kerri was talking about as far as being conscious about things are not stable. And mm-hmm. I want to show you something, and this will make all the sense in the world, and this will help you understand what Kerri's going. So Kerri, I'm gonna let you take this away and get started.
So this is when it starts getting into more of the numbers and all this kind of stuff that energizes me, which some people, it doesn't energize at all. So when you look back at this time, you see many ups and downs. And of course, everybody, doesn't know or remember or even understand some of these things that have happened that let the market go back down. But as you see, when it goes back down, it comes back up. Now, this is like totally common for the market. It's always going to be going up and down because of fluctuations in the market, things that happen, like the coronavirus that we had, that totally changed. And that wasn't even planned. People didn't know that was coming. However, because of the history of all these things that have happened, the people that are knowledgeable of it, understand it, they know that that's going to go down sometime, but they're going to be well prepared for it because they've had it before, they've planned on it, they know what's going to happen. And so some of these people even put more money into the market when it's going down because they understand the sell high, buy low kind of thing. You can get in that market and go, and it doesn't stress them out. But the other people, even if they have confidence in their retirement plan and, other things that they want to do, even those people will look back at this and go, oh no, something else just happened. My money's going down and I'm losing it. And now what am I going to do? Because my goals have changed. You make a plan way back in, 2025? Let's make a plan in 2000 that you're going to retire in 2025. Well, 2000, everything looked good. You had your mindset going. You understood everything. But all of a sudden, something happens when you're getting close to retirement. And then you're like, oh, no, I didn't plan for this. I'm not ready for this. And I experienced that when I worked at Hewlett-Packard and came 9/11. I had a lady that was getting ready to retire. She was 55 and getting ready to retire. She was ready to go. That happened and she had everything. I just was boggled by this, but she had everything in HP stock. And I was just like, so kind of in that situation, she was all ready for it. She thought she had it planned, kind of knew what she was doing. And when that happened, what are you going to do? Because people weren't expecting that to happen. Another example kind of that I look here when I look at the other different kind of people, the unconscious competence, that I have a client that was really looking forward. She's 53. She was really looking forward to starting her investment now. And so she did it, she started it, and then all of a sudden these other things happened and her market started going down. So she took her money out and went on a vacation. And I'm just like, so you freak out because your market's kind of going down, you're losing money, but instead of just understanding it, knowing how it works, watching the historical numbers of the market going back up, she instead freaks out and takes it out. So she's missing the huge opportunity of keeping the money in the market when it's going down. And people don't understand that. They don't understand the future of making that money back. So you really have to understand the market. It's always going to go up and down. Things are always going to happen, but you need to be prepared for that. So when you're starting to learn how to invest back in the 30s, you want to be able to understand what the market is. So let's just look at the age 55, 60 when you want to retire, and keep on that steady plan, learn more, understand it. So then that way these fluctuations will not hurt.
That is true. And I, Gary, okay, good. There you are. We just heard your voice, but we see you now. But that's okay. I'm gonna.
Oh, sorry, I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, it's okay. We're here. I want to point to this. I want everybody to look at what Kerri has talked about as far as this map is huge. Here's the way that I'm interpreting it, and Kerri, you can absolutely correct me if I'm wrong. But this little line here looks very obvious, or it looks not obvious, but it looks very familiar. It looks like the stock market. It is no different than the stock market. And what we're seeing is a history of U.S. decisions and life changes around the world that have caused fluctuations. So the crash in the confidence that we're looking for is unstable because this graph shows that unstable is right here. This shows that there's going to be periods of time of stability, but there's also going to be periods of time of instability. So in those periods of time of instability that we're seeing, this is where Kerri had talked about last month of having a portfolio to perform regardless of where the times are. Because ultimately, we had mentioned it before earlier in this conversation, no matter what is happening in life, you still have a life that you need to execute on. There's a plan in place that you have to execute on, which is you got to live. You know, it's a small thing, but it's a big thing, right? You got to live. You have kids, you have grandchildren, you have things that you want to put aside. That was your original goal when you spoke to a person like Kerri when you were 35. So now your commitment to your plan and executing that should be bigger than this market, because this volatility is telling you it looks just like life. You can't really guarantee what's going to happen tomorrow. Nobody woke up and when COVID hit and said everything's fine. We had a whole country meltdown as to we stopped working, and we had to readjust. Well, that brought the market down, but we readjusted and we started to climb back up. So the ultimate piece here is the fact that we are staying in reactive mode to the marketplace instead of reactive, instead of looking at this and saying historically, this is the pattern. So you meet with people like Kerri and say, how do I override this pattern? How do I set things up to where this pattern is not affecting me, or I can capitalize on this pattern? Is this the outlook, the economic outlook somebody should have as far as executing a plan, Kerri?
Yeah, they with the plans that they make and the confidence that they have, they are able to look at these things and, like you said, understand what happens and what to do about it. And if they have the confidence in their investments that they're running with and the knowledge that they're running with, then of course they're going to understand what's going on and how to change with that. And there are different options that you have in your investment. So when the markets go down, you have those options to make those changes. When it goes back up, you have options to make those changes. And a lot of people don't understand that either. So they just sit and hold and kind of hope for the best. So
Yes.
again, it's just having that confidence of what you know, understanding this, and learning from historical information, which is shown right here. So it's just, again, it's just the confidence in your knowledge, and also listening to someone like a financial advisor to see it from a different view. The financial
That's it.
advisor sees this as really given the opportunity to help the client get through this, understanding it and not being worried about it, because they just know that they can get help and get to understand it better, and they learn more. And with learning more, the confidence goes up and the stress goes down.
That's
And
it.
so the more you understand, the more you work. And we all know that it's going to change again. We just want to be ready for it next time, be well prepared to at least have the comfort of it and the confidence.
That's it. And remember, folks, you're too close to your own plan sometimes. You need to have somebody out from an outlook, look at it to see if you're on that right track, regardless of where everything is. And that's where Kerri comes in to actually have that conversation. You had also presented to us, Kerri, the mental difference. And you want to go ahead and break down this list to see what those mental differences as far as a response to market conditions such as this?
Yeah, so this is one thing I like to talk about because it has to do with mental, and it's how different people see different things and how they react to them. And if everybody knew all about this, then we'd have everybody knowing everything, but we don't. And it's so
That's
people
right.
just
That's
have to
right.
look at things differently than they do, because again, they might be in those different confident levels of what they know or don't know. So it doesn't go against anybody. It's just how things work. So I want to look here. We're kind of looking at the wealthy and the middle class. Okay, now this is not really looking bad at any of it is bad, but you want to look at the wealthy. We've got the millionaires out there, but they've made these decisions. And then we have the middle class, which is not bad at all. It fits most of us, and we're able to just go through with our decisions. But the reason that the wealthy and the middle class are different is when I look at these, we'll go through them each one. The wealthy do the wealthy investment. They understand how to invest. They understand what they're getting into, and they want to be out there taking advantage of it. The middle class, in the other way, they want savings, and we have savings, but they're not future savings. They're looking more like, okay, what do I need to have in now so that I can use now or in the near future? They're not looking at wealth for benefit for their beneficiaries, for their families to go on. They're not looking into the future. The next one is the asset accumulation to the active income. The wealthy, it's in the market. They want to keep in the market. They're going to keep the accumulation to continue making money in there. But on the other side, it's active income. So the market's out there moving, it's making money, their assets are growing, but all of a sudden they need to bring some out and go spend regular bills that you have, or go on a vacation, or doing something like that, because your investments are active and they're coming to you. The other one is the debt to growth wealth. Is a lot of their debt are positive debt. They have their money out there, but it's growing and it's bringing in the wealth. The other one is debt for consumption. Unfortunately, the other sides go on debt. Their credit cards go up, loans go up, everything goes up just for you to be comfortable in your life.
Yeah.
The next one, financial education. These are people that are really going out, reading books, listening to millionaires talk, learning about really what financial education is. The other one we have is traditional education. It's what we went through in school, how to put money aside, save it for a rainy day. So we just have that traditional education of money, how it works and how to save it. But the next one, like I said, the financial education is really looking into the wealthy people and learning what they're doing. And then finally, that powerful networks compared to isolation. Their powerful networks are they're hanging around other people and have relationships with other people that have these huge goals, and they're around the same kind of people that you want to be like. The middle class is more like isolation. We hang out with kind of the like. And what I'm saying about that is that saying is you're like the people, the 5 people that you hang out with. And so the wealthy like to go and hang out with the wealthy, get relationships with them, and in that way learn from them. Again, it's learning. It's your financial education to let's go learn some more.
Yeah.
On the other side, I'm not saying again it's bad or anything because I'm right in there in this, but you're going to go be around the other kind of people, like going bowling every Thursday night.
Wait a minute. We're getting personal.
I know. I know. So yeah, it is. It's just funny because it's the way we all look at each other, the way we express ourselves. But that's what the difference is, and I think people need to be more on their thinking side. It's like, okay, we have opportunities here to do these other things. I just don't want to be struggling along, living routinely like I always do. I just want the education to learn. So that's really, it's not a big difference at all. It's just the way we handle our money, how we want to spend it, and how we're not looking into the huge big picture of not only our retirement, but our beneficiaries, our family, things to keep going in the family. So that's where I think the differences are.
That's fair. And I want to bring this back up because you had talked about rising confidence and also sabotaging success. And when we take that idea that Kerri just presented to us, minus the bowling part, she was actually right on cue because we were talking about comfort. That's the mindset of those that stay right here, typically in the middle, and want to stay in that middle. That's fine. That's a pathway of life. Okay. That doesn't. So when life happens, that middle, that's where that crash happens, and that's where you crash with the market typically. When she was talking about kind of the wealthy path, they're trying to always stay hot. That's what she was alluding to earlier, just staying hot, staying on point, having the right conversations, seeing the crash in the market and saying, okay, what can I buy low? What's about to rise in the next few months? Mm-hmm. And so it's a difference in response to the marketplace. And that's the mental approach towards that, that marketplace, and regardless of if it crashes or not. Because again, it seems like the wealthy people still want to execute on the plan that they set for themselves. That's the ultimate goal. Am I saying that correctly?
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. That's where I'm glad you brought it back to this screen, because yes, when you're up in that red, you're confident, you know what's going on, and you're going to stay up there because you know it's right. You're feeling good. And that's where we want people to really understand on where to be. And that's where you see the difference of, the different risk level and just what we were talking about, the wealthy and the middle class. It's kind of like how we see that and where we want to be. And I will tell you, I think middle class is more on that comfort zone. It's on that comfort zone. They don't really understand what they can do to get in the red and stay in it. But at least they know when they're dropping, they better do something to get back up. So they understand that. But that's the comfort zone, and that's where a lot of people are. I would like to be in the red.
Yeah.
All the time, that's the place to be. So I'm still learning, and I'm also helping other people learn how to do that.
That's fair.
But that's the thing. It's just a comfort. Just a comfort.
All right. Kerri, as normal, you gave us a lot to go with as far as this, and it's perfect because this particular time frame, people need to not crash. We need to see an opportunity and respond to it. What do you want people to take away after today's show? I'll go ahead and give you the floor.
Okay, great. I just love that. So yeah, I think what we just talked about, I really get into because of things, like I said, I've learned from my coach and things back then, and I get really excited about it because I think that's what helps people the most. But we have like roadblocks. And the roadblocks is what's keeping us from our confidence and putting us in that certain confidence level. So we really need to be able to react to that and learn about it, get the confidence back, and then go forward. And one of the things that people have is they really feel like they have confidence and money saved, but when it comes down to trying to really keep it up to date and continue to learn, continue to make changes, all of a sudden they're too busy. And there's always something going on before being able to actually sit down and keep planning your future. People will sit down and plan for vacations, but a lot of the time they're not going to plan down or sit down and really look at their future plans and their savings and what they've already had. So they need to keep that as a priority. And the one other thing I like to share that I think is interesting is the comment that Trump made recently about you can only buy one doll. And I don't know if everybody heard that, but they were looking at the money and how people need to start saving. And I think if you're on that level that you really know what's going on and you have the saved money, then you can continue to buy what you want to buy, or you were smart enough a long time ago to be able to plan on that, to know what you can and can't buy. But on the other side, the people that don't have the knowledge and know the knowledge, they're just going to sit back and say, okay, what I'm told is I really can't do the things that I want to do because I'm just not going to get there. And so that's how, when little things are said, a lot of people get different views on their life. And what I just want to make out of all this is, again, to get out of that roadblock, look at these other options and learn how to be confident and continue, because even the people that are confident, they're the ones that are continuing to learn, continuing to plan, and also look at other possibilities that are out there. So that's just what I want to share with everybody, is to get in that confidence, talk to someone that can help you with that, learn more about your future and how your money's going to work, and hopefully everybody can get closer to where they want to be after this talk show we had.
All right, and that's exactly what everybody's going to do, right? All right. No, all seriousness, again, Kerri, your conversations are always timely, and I want to thank you for your foresight in having these conversations to help people move through. This is not a comfortable time for a lot of people, but it is ultimately a job to get people comfortable, because people have to have somewhere to go. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to address these issues and help people through. So thank you for all that you do in the marketplace.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. We'll see you next time.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, folks. Again, thank you for your attendance and watching the Executive Talk show and listening to Kerri to hear what she has to say. This is the moment of truth and Kerri was really honing in on the issue, which is your plan versus the market. Do you still need to execute on the plan regardless of what the market is doing? The answer is yes. When you're up in age and you're in that 50-year-old age or so on and so forth, there's a certain time frame you don't feel like trying to get it going again. You have a plan that you need to execute on. You have people and resources such as Kerri to actually help you get there and stay there through portfolio and other options that you can choose instead of just crashing with it. We have the ability to see what the U.S. market and over time has always been. It looks just like the stock market. It's just decisions and changes and this and that and the other. The volatility has always been there. So the question is now, what do we do? How do we respond to ensure that we still move forward? Because it's not okay for us to emotionally take in these hits all the time. It's responding to it and knowing that the hits are going to come. How are we going to position ourselves to be proactive in that? And I want to again thank Kerri for addressing that, because this is the mental shift that we need in order to be successful. But again, thank you all for taking your time out of your schedule to listen to this show. But Kerri and I, we actually have to get back to work. So we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.